Hello, everybody. My name is Christian. I'm the host of the Disruptive Chef Entrepreneur Show. And today, you guys gotta... Actually, I'll talk to you right after this. Hello again. My name is Christian. I'm the host of the Disruptive Chef Entrepreneur Show. And you guys gonna love today's guest as much as I love them. So, full transparency, we... kind of connected on this platform a few weeks ago, and I had this conversation with him, and I said to the team, hey, listen, we need to have more people like him on. By the way, his name is Jason. So we need to have more people like him on. He is a sales professional, and for me, it's really simple. It doesn't matter what you do. Sales, if you're not selling somebody, you're being sold. So for me, that's not my number one thing. So today's guest, you guys can love him. He's the Chief Revenue Officer of a company called Brightcove. If you haven't had the chance, you need to guys check it out. Also, he's an amazing human being. He does a podcast. He does so many other things. He is a guy which innovated. I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's not me. I think you have someone else.
Okay. And so he has a leadership and growth expertise. So with that, I want to say hello and tell our audience, how did this whole thing start?
Christian, thanks so much for having me. Super excited to be here. Happy Thursday. The sales thing for me has always been an interest since college. I broke into medical device sales. Actually, pharmaceutical sales, to be clear, right out of college. I think, when we spoke originally, I think I was telling you the story of how I was applying and I wasn't getting anywhere. And so I decided to, kind of creatively break out of the sea of sameness and do what everyone else was doing. And I printed some resumes. I bought some nice shiny folders, and I went and hung out in medical office buildings. And I waited for the pharmaceutical reps to pull in the Chevy Impalas and Ford Tauruses. Those were the company cars in the early 2000s. And so little did I know back then, when someone got out of the passenger seat, it was typically a sales manager doing a ride along with their sales representative for the day. And you can only imagine how they looked at me. Who is this creative, tenacious, gritty guy standing around waiting to low grade stalk them, essentially, to get my resume into their hands, right? Because again, applying online and doing the same thing over and over and really not getting any traction, that wasn't working. And so that was ultimately how I broke into pharmaceutical sales. I did it for a few years. And then, most people, you're looking for the next best thing. I wanted to get into medical device sales in the operating room. It's a more sexy job, better pay, all of these other perks, right? And I was quickly told, hey, you sell pharmaceuticals. You don't sell anything. You drop off lunch and you bring samples to doctors' offices. That's not sales. And that's when I said, precisely. That's why I want out. Can you help me? I deserve a chance. And so I'm applying and I'm not getting anywhere. And again, creatively, I go to the mall, I buy a pair of scrubs to find myself at an upcoming interview. I go to a hospital, and the product that I would potentially be selling was in the intensive care unit and in the operating room. And so what I did was I wore the scrubs. I went up to the intensive care unit, Christian. I held my breath. I pushed the button. I walked in, and I hear beeping, and I'm really overwhelmed. What did I just get myself into? And it just so happened that I seen a physician that knew me. In fact, he knew I was looking for other opportunities. He wrote me a recommendation letter to help me as I was continuing looking for other opportunities. And he goes, Jason, what the hell are you doing in scrubs, no suit on? Why are you in the intensive care unit? Yep. And I proceeded to tell him, hey, look, I have this upcoming interview. Can you help me? What is the product that you're currently using, the brand? I want to know how it works. Can you have a nurse show me? I wanted everything. And I took notes. Smoke was coming off the paper. I was writing so fast. He had called a nurse over, and we sat, all three of us. And I took all of that, and I took it to the upcoming interview. And I'll never forget this. Before we got started, I said, Andy was the gentleman who I was interviewing with. Andy, can I share a story with you? I brought these scrubs. Here's the receipt. Here's all my notes. Here's the business card of the physician and the nurse's name and phone number to call and validate everything I'm about to tell you. Because we talk about in business, know, like, and trust. Then how can you build likability and trust? Well, there was the trust. Anyone could make those stories up that I just described to you, but now I proof. And so to make a long story semi-short, I end up getting the job. And then I'm diagnosed with cancer in 2019. And so I have this internal shift in terms of, am I doing really what I want to be doing and why I'm put on this earth? And so what I did do was pivot into working in oncology sales for the next few years, but then ultimately scrapped it all one day and said, you know what, my real passion. And over the last 20 years, my friends and family have anointed me as the guy to come to when they're trying to be creative and different and memorable, and how they interview. And look, I don't ask anyone to loiter in parking lots like I did and break into ICU departments of hospitals, but you've better be figuring out a creative way for yourself to be different and memorable, because in today's age, 2025, attention is the new currency. Yeah. And you've got to be figuring out creative ways to stand out and break out of what I always talk about as the sea of sameness. So that's how Build Your Own Brand was formed. And now that's what I do. We have a whole program.
So I love that story. And so let's go a little bit back. You Sure. said you had some health challenges. So talk to us a little bit about that. How did that shape what you do today? And not just how did it shape you, but how did it shape the people around you?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I had such a great support system around me, Christian. I think it was just, I was very blessed to have such great family members, friends, colleagues. I mean, it was brutal. And I have to be honest with you, candidly, I had my first chemotherapy and I'm like, this is nothing. I can do this for the next 6 months. And then perpetually, they got more and more and more difficult. And so, just a lot of reflection during that time. What do I want to be doing? Is the chemotherapy going to work? I had all these emotions and just thoughts for 6 months, just hopeful and not sure how things were going to play out. But ultimately, I did work the entire time as much as I could. I had a very, great manager at the time, flexible, because I tried to keep as much normalcy in my life as I possibly could. I wasn't going to lay on the couch or in the bed and rot away. I really tried to spend as much time as I could doing all the things that I normally would do on a daily basis. And so, working and dealing with that, I think it was the after part, post treatment, was like, am I really spending the time that I have on this precious earth the way I really want to spend it professionally, personally, cleaned out my closet, so to speak, with certain people in my life, because during those real tough times, they weren't there. And on the contrary, there's some people that I didn't really expect that emerged and were really there for me.
I love what you just said, because you honestly learn in a place, or when you're in this, I don't know sure what you call it, but if you're in that vulnerable stage, you know exactly who are your friends and you're not. And there's this group you think, oh, I gotta hear from them continuously. You know what? They come at first and then they kind of drop off. So I think when you are in that place, it really shows you who are your real friends, and it actually changes a little bit. And not just who are your real friends, who are the people which really looking out for you? How did that feel for you?
Yeah, no, you hit it right on the head. And I mean, I think, in full disclosure, there was some family that I would have expected more from that really just weren't there. And, and again, I hold no grudge. It is what it is. People are who they are, and people are busy, right? And I get it. But to your point, And to alluding back to what I said earlier, I really found out who's my, what do they call it, foxhole friends. When things get really bad, who's truly there? And I was pleasantly surprised at some of those folks that really did emerge. And I'm super grateful for that. And I think our friendship, some of the family, some of us have really gotten much closer, from that situation. So there was a lot of silver lining personally, as I just described, and then also professionally. Am I truly doing what I want to be doing? Look, medical device, very big salaries, a lot of perks, it's a great industry, and I absolutely loved it. But, I think you get to that point in your career, and especially with a traumatic event, and you have to ask yourself, am I truly doing what I feel called to do? And what's cool for me is I've always had this passion of helping people be different and memorable. My accounting friends, my engineering friends, my IT friends that really are more introverted and don't know how to sell themselves and tell their story in a memorable way. They're intelligent people and very cerebral and very, add a lot of value to companies, but sometimes don't get jobs and don't know why. And, we really analyze, well, how are you telling your story? What are you doing to be memorable? And, that's what we focused on. And anecdotally helping people over the course of my sales career, and then going, wow, I get more excitement doing that when that works for them than I do sometimes selling my widget into the hospital up the street. This is really meaningful work, and I absolutely love doing it. And I think that there's a lot of professionals that don't know how to do it very well, and where colleges don't necessarily teach them how to leverage their degree once they get it. There should be a course in colleges on how to do that. And then there are people that ultimately don't go to college and do blue collar work, and that's great too. And the HVAC guys, the chefs, all those other jobs, they have to still interview for jobs. And people spend a lot of time, Christian, I think, on the resume part, but not so much on the interview part. And I think we as a society have this flip-flopped, because I've never in sales leadership hired anyone on their resume alone, but I always wanted to know how they interacted. Did I feel like I could grab a beer with them after work? And did I trust them?
I listen, I absolutely love all of that. So for me, I want to go back. You have that dramatic experience. You're going through the process. You're finding out who your friends are. So how did today's company you represent, how did that shape? Talk to us a little bit. What went through your mind by doing this, and how do you feel you can serve the community better than anybody else?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the ultimate answer to that question is I'm a very genuine and authentic guy. And I approach my sales career that way. I approach the clients that I serve that way. For being a salesman, Christian, I'm probably the least pushy guy you'll meet. I ultimately, I'd be pleasantly aggressive at times, but at the end of the day, I want people to know what I do. And if it makes sense, great. And if not, no big deal. You now know that this is being offered. And so, that experience for me, as I mentioned earlier, it was just eye-opening in the sense of, do I want to continue down this medical device sales path, or do I want to help serve others? And I was still serving others in a larger capacity. But again, alluding back to what I was saying, now the interaction with folks and seeing them get jobs that they didn't think they could get, or they've been displaced and have not had a job for months, helping them build the confidence and credibility to go after those jobs and earn those jobs. That's my real passion now. And I think a lot of it had to do with the traumatic event that I had, and really having to sit down and be intentional. What do I want to do with my life from this day forward? And now that's how Build Your Own Brand was created.
So let's step back. So you had this idea, you're doing all of this, and a lot of our audience knows they meant for greater things. They know they can serve the community and the people they love in a lot greater way. So where was that, or what was that pivoting moment for you where you said, you know what, I can do this on my own. I can do this. How did you work with the name? Was there different names coming up? So help us understand a little bit. What was the process for you, and how did you wind up where you are today?
Yeah. So, for me, it was my wife. God bless my wife. I love my wife. She was very encouraging in this decision. I had dabbled with this idea for quite some time, more so as a little side project. And, her whole thing was, listen, the corporate world is a big rat race. There's always this carrot that you're going to keep chasing and never catch. And I see you get more excited about the work that you're doing, helping individuals and people and doing sales presentations, workshops for people, to help them find jobs. Why don't you make that your full-time job? And I'm standing at the deep end and I'm dipping my toe in, and I didn't have any floaties on, and she just pushed me right in. And, that's how it started. And I had to swim. And so, build your own brand. I like the idea of individuals. I think the program that we've designed is to help people build their respective brands. Everybody has their own story, their own brand. That's how we settled on the name. You look at the logo, there's this mountain. It's starting at the bottom, but it's intentionally climbing. And then you get to a halfway point and there's this plateau, and that happens, and that's okay. You need to regroup. You need to refocus, and then you need to start climbing again. And that's the ultimate process.
And Jason, it looks almost like the thing behind you. So
that's right.
So you started this company, okay? It's not easy, and you heard it that 9 out of 10 companies fail. They don't make it beyond year one. So where was it for you that said, hey, this is the name we have? Talk to us a little bit. How did you create your website? How did you develop what you have today? And talk to us a little bit about the process, because again, a lot of our audience, they're in similar shoes than you. They know they want to do something else. They started or did something else. And what I find, they usually had one or two things they didn't do the way you were supposed to do in order to get to the next level. So talk to us a little bit. How did that process work? How did you incorporate all of that? And how do you serve your customer today?
Yeah. So it's first of all, I have to say the decision to do this is extremely humbling. To leave a corporate job and a salary and something that you have been doing for so many years, you could do it in your sleep, so to speak, right? It was extremely humbling. And full disclosure, on paper, build your own brand. If you look at LinkedIn, it's beyond a year. But actually, once I left, I immediately changed my profile because I wanted to quickly disconnect from Jason, the medical device guy, and now become this guy. And so I haven't really been doing it and serving people for over a year. So I'm still in that kind of window where people do fail, but I'm so committed to wanting to make this work because I do believe people need the services to help them how they tell their story. Again, I think it's so much stock is putting, my resume, and I spend all this money on resume, but resume doesn't get people jobs. It's how they do this, how they interact in person, virtually, how they tell their story. And so the blueprint that I created, Christian, was simply the one that I use to get every single very difficult medical device job. What questions do you put together for the company and the hiring manager when you have the interview? Very important. And the psychology behind what that it says to the manager, the homework that you've done. We build business plans. We put together portfolios, what I like to call a legacy list of what everyone's accomplished. And I think sometimes people forget how accomplished they are, and because they haven't looked back X amount of years and they go, whoa, I did that. I do that.
And so I think it's also for them, there is this point, if you lose your job on purpose or unpurpose, or company downsizes, whatever that may happen, it really does something to you. And for me, what I love about you is you had a health scenario where other people saying, I give up. I don't do anything else. You know, you took that time to build, your company, build your own brand. You're going out there, you helping people find a better way of themselves. And I wrote this down. What questions do you put together?
Yes.
Nobody thinks about it when they're doing this. So for
No.
me, first off, hats off to you to getting that far. Hats off to doing what you do today. And then also for me, I'm getting goosebumps talking about this because there's people which giving up. And they said,
Yeah.
hey, I had this happen to me. And you know what? I don't know how to get on. Or if somebody is in a job for 20 years or maybe 25 years, they gave their life to this company and they're being laid off. You said, hey, people are better than they think they are because they
Yes.
accomplish so many great things. But for a lot of people, that is a difficult choice because they were saying, they didn't value me. And I gave them my life for 20 years. They just didn't value me.
That's
And
right.
so by the way, I absolutely love what you do. I think there needs to be more people like you. So talk to us. So you have the client, you're helping them kind of find a way, or you call it, hey, what are the things you're good at? And then you're coaching them on. So talk to us a little bit. How do you help them find jobs?
Yeah. So we, oftentimes I find out just kind of in the discovery calls, people will say they use LinkedIn, but they're not using it appropriately. They
Yeah.
have an account, they'll find jobs that way. And then when you really kind of peel it back a little bit and uncover, most of the time they're just applying that way and finding jobs that way. And then they're sitting around waiting to hear back. And, here's the valuable lesson. If you are, I don't care what the industry is, you use LinkedIn and you identify 3 to 5 companies that you want to work at. And then you take it a step further and you connect with those people that have the title you want. And you make meaningful connections and build relationships with internal stakeholders at these respective companies that have the title you want at one of these companies that you want to work at. And when you can start to build and work relationships that way, then you don't have to apply online to a link and you don't know where your resume goes. Now I can say, Christian, we had a great conversation. Listen, would you mind if I sent you my resume? Would you be willing to endorse me and pass my resume along to the manager that you work with? Because I feel, we had a connection today and I think there's something here. I hope you would agree. What you all are looking for and what you described to me, I think I can bring that to the table. Would you do that for me? And most of the time, people want to help people. Absolutely, Jason. You're not going to just put your name out on the line if you didn't think I was worth it, and you don't want to damage your own credibility. But if you go, wow, that guy's pretty sharp, and he could add some value into our organization, absolutely. And what I find oftentimes, at least in med device sales, we would oftentimes get a little bit of a referral bonus. Yeah. So that incentivizes the individual. Yeah, great guy. Why would I not pass Jason's name along? I may make a few bucks out of the deal, and we bring in some really good talent into the organization. So we identify how to use LinkedIn. We build the business plan. We build the portfolio and legacy list. We put all of this together so you have some tools to use during the interview process. We focus on some mock interviewing. What questions might you be asked? Why sales managers ask certain questions, and how to answer them appropriately. And then finally, Christian, we've adopted the use of personalized video creation to send to hiring managers, to send as a thank you, to send in all creative and versatile ways, to be different and memorable. Imagine getting a video that says, hey, Christian, it's Jason. I see you posted a job. Listen, I think based on my background and what I've read in the job description, my background is a really good fit. Listen, I could have emailed you, but I wanted to reach out to you in a more creative and personalized way. Hopefully you see the excitement on my face. I'm really excited to learn more about the opportunity. Attached is my resume. Yeah. We need to have a discussion. So the personalized video thing has been absolutely phenomenal in helping be a differentiator. I speak on this to businesses as well, because businesses are looking to prospect and grow. Then how can you get past the gatekeepers? And sometimes video, along with all of the other things that you're currently doing, can sometimes be that secret. And so
I love that, because for me, as many people as I hired, I never got a video. I would have loved getting a video from somebody. I love
yes.
that. What are some other unique ways you kind of coach your clients on to get in front of the right person?
Yeah. Again, I think LinkedIn is number one. I think utilizing their own network, number two. There's a lot of great professional organizations out there. I'm involved with a great organization called Am Spirit. It's phenomenal for networking and connecting with people. It's, passing good quality referrals to one another. Networking, is absolutely phenomenal way to connect. And yeah, just finding different ways. Again, you have to figure out a way. Attention is the new currency. How can you be different? And so we do a deep dive call with clients to just uncover who they are, what their backgrounds are, and how can we then tailor our approach to helping them stand out in their respective fields or where they want to pivot to, and do that in a very tailored approach.
Mm-hmm. I absolutely love that. By the way, I'm looking at the clock. I can talk to you forever, because this is such usable skills. And this is usable to anybody, because for me, by the way, I have already a half a page of notes here. And for me, I was like, oh, you know what? Maybe I need to start writing people or thanking people on doing business with me on a podcast, or I do a video format. Right?
Yes.
I was like, and I underlined it here twice, because I think that's such a great idea, because people are busy, and it kind of shows, okay, an email is easy, but actually doing a video shows that you kind of put some effort in there to do this. So for me, I absolutely love that.
Christian, it's the intentionality and the genuine and authentic video that stands out above any email, any text, anything, any phone call that you can do. You can see the expression of Christian's face when he sends that video that says, "Thank you for being on my podcast. I appreciate it. I could have emailed you a thank you, but I thought you would appreciate this. It was so enjoyable. Looking forward to staying in touch." That's just a different way to communicate.
I absolutely love that. And that for me could be very seldom be the difference of getting the job or not getting the job. If you're the only guy which sent a video, people say, "Oh, you remember who was that guy? What was that guy's name which sent us a video?"
Yes, yes.
I absolutely love that. So going in and doing what you do. So what are some of the new trends are coming? What is the things our audience needs to look out for? So talk to us a little bit, looking behind the scenes a little bit. What is some of the new stuff which is coming? What do they need to look out for? And what is something they should take advantage of?
Yeah, I hate to be repetitive, but I think top of mind is the video creation, and finding a way that it fits your comfort level. I tell people this. Lots of people don't like, you said it earlier, Christian, early in the call. You don't love to be on camera. You don't like how you sound or look sometimes. But here's the thing. We aren't professional news anchors. We don't do this every day. This isn't our job, so to speak. Like, people with an and or this or that, like, that just shows you're real and human. And people really are attracted to that. Like, this is who I am. What you see is what you get. And so this is my personality. Some people like it, some people don't, but it's, this is my true and genuine and authentic self. I'm a passionate guy, and people pick up on that in a video. You can't pick up on that in an email. You can't pick up on that in a text. And so I think this is the way. I think you'll see a lot more communication being done by video in the future. So I do believe that this is a trend right now that's really, the trajectory is taking off. And I would encourage everyone to start by doing something, even if it's just to a family member, telling your wife you love her through a video to get comfortable. Because here's the thing, and this is going back to starting my business, going back to leaving the comfort of medical device sales. Comfort is the enemy of growth.
I love that.
And if you don't figure out and you don't challenge yourself, I tell my 14-year-old daughter all the time, you've got to push yourself, right? You have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And that doesn't change. Christian, me, everyone, we get uncomfortable sometimes in environments that are different, but that's the real growth. And it's happening. That is it happening. And so, you have to challenge yourself. So if you're on the fence and thinking about making a change, it's humbling, yes. And it's scary, yes. But it's very rewarding as well.
I absolutely love that. So, but before we pivot here, I wanted to see, we have a little game we play. It's called Rapid Fire Question Food Service Edition. So I wanted to see if you're up for that. But before we do this, so tell our audience a little bit more. Where can they learn more about you? Where can they find out more about you? How can they get in contact with you? And we will put some stuff in the show notes, but I want them to hear it from you. So help us to understand, how can we get a hold of you?
Yeah, thank you. So I would say LinkedIn is number one. Please, I'm always looking for new connections. You can never have enough friends. So I would say LinkedIn is number one. There's Instagram, there's Facebook, the website, which is www.careercoachbyob. That's build your own brand, not bring your own beer.com. So www.careercoachbyob. That's the website. You can learn a lot more about what we're doing there. And those are some great ways to connect with me. So yeah, I really appreciate it.
I absolutely love that. And so for me, there's my few takeaways for our audience for today. When you are having a hard time, and it could be a medical thing, or it could be something else. For me, I underlined this twice here. You honestly need to find out who your real friends are. And for me, I love the way you describe that. And sometimes you think of people different than they actually are. I also have, hey, what questions do you put together for a resume or when you do a meeting? For me, I also underlined this twice here, because for me, that was one of those things as you talked about, hey, what kind of questions? And I'm sitting here, what kind of questions do I put together? So I absolutely love that. I also have, people don't use LinkedIn purposeful. I think there's an opportunity for us to do a little bit more of that.
Yes.
I love the personalized video generation. And then for me, I love this episode. The comfort is the enemy of growth. And when you think of BYOB, it's him, not the other one, because the other one, just leave it at home. Don't bring it. Don't let anybody see what you drink. So yeah, I absolutely love that. So are you up for playing Rapid Fire Question Food Service Edition?
I'm absolutely ready.
So Jason, I have a brand new spec of questions for you. There's 25 questions. And the way it works is there's 25 questions we call out, saying, hey, Jason, give me a number, you give me a number. I read out the questions, and all of the answers are yes or no, and why. And this way we know exactly if we need to turn this thing off, or if we need to check out some of the other stuff we're doing out there in the marketplace. So, Jason, let's go. Give me a number between 1 and 25.
I'm going to pick my lucky number 12.
So, number 12, here we go. Have you ever accidentally started a small fire in the kitchen? And really, you're not a chef if you don't start a fire. Yes or no, and why?
I have. And I will say this. I'll clarify that it was intentional. I was trying to make an au poivre sauce, and I add the cognac, I believe, and lit it on fire, and then it wasn't really going out. So the smoke alarm went off. It was a lot of fun.
Okay. Nobody do this at home. Okay. And hey, lessons learned. Give me a number between 1 and 25.
I will say number 4.
Number 4. If a food can't be eaten with chopstick, is it even worth trying? Yes or no? And why?
If a food can't be eaten with chopsticks, is it
even worth trying? Yep.
I don't think so. I don't think so. And I'll say, for me, if I understand the question correctly, the chemotherapy that I had
Yeah.
has given me a lot of neuropathy. I used to love chopsticks. Christian, I was a chopstick king. I could pick up anything. Now I have to use a fork to eat my sushi because my fingers don't work that well. And so I see sometimes people in the restaurant give me that look like, is he really using fork with the sushi? But I have to.
I love that. But to our audience, don't use a fork with sushi. Okay. Give us a number between 1 and 25.
I will say number 24.
24. If a dish isn't Instagrammable, should you even bother eating it? Yes or no? And why?
Absolutely, you should, because just because the dish isn't pretty doesn't mean it's not tasty.
I love that. You know what? I 100% agree with you. Give me a number between 1 and 25.
I will say number 18.
18. Oh, is it okay to eat a dessert before dinner and call it reversed dining? Yes or no? And why?
100% yes. My question back would be, why not? The dessert, my mom would say, always eat the dessert first. She always let us do that as kids.
By the way, his mom is wrong. You do not eat dessert before a real meal. So give us another last question, a number between 1 and 25.
I will say number 10 feels lucky.
Number 10. Should all food be served with a surprised ingredients? Yes or no, and why?
With surprised ingredients? Ooh. I'm going to say no, because one time I was at a Chinese restaurant, and I had no idea what a sea cucumber was. And someone convinced me to eat the sea cucumber. It was a physician. And then after I ate the thing, everyone laughed at the table. I don't like this surprises in the dishes.
Can you ask why people were laughing afterwards?
Oh, because I think, if I understood what a sea cucumber is, it is like the bottomest feeder of the ocean. Very nasty. Shouldn't be eating it. I think they played a prank on me, is what I really think. And I was the sucker that fell for it. So no surprises.
Okay, spot on. So that's what it is. So with that, I want to say thank you for playing Rapid Fire Question Food Service Edition, and you did amazing. So out of the 6 questions, you got 1 right. No, there's no right or wrong. But I think you got 1 right. So I really appreciate, first off, you being here. Thanks for the gift of your time. Thanks for talking to us about Build Your Own Brand. I absolutely love that. I love the 5 things I have learned, and there's more we will share with you in the key takeaways. So with that, what is the final word of wisdom, Jason?
Yeah, I said it earlier, Christian. It's always heavy on my heart. Comfort is the enemy of growth. And, don't be afraid to challenge yourself. You can do more than you think you can. And so, wherever you're at in your professional life, personal life, challenge yourself, continue to learn, continue to grow, get out of that comfort zone. And once you do, your confidence is boosted so much. And that can really be contagious and compound into doing other things that maybe you didn't think you could. And that's how really good things are born.
I absolutely love that. And to our audience, I want you to check him out, because there's so many things he talked about which transcend industries. There's so many things he talked about which transcend not just who you are, but anything you need to overcome. And finally, for me, there's things you talked about today that's universal. And for me, that's why you are successful as you are. And I absolutely love what you do. And thanks for being here today. Thanks for the gift of your time. And thanks for talking to us about Build Your Own Brand. So with that, Jason, I want to thank you for being here today. And
Thank you.
Our audience, if you haven't done so, make sure you check us out and go on to the disruptivechef.com, because we want to know what you want to see. We also want to know what you think about today's episodes. So leave those comments below. So with that, until next time, to remember to fire up your career, stay hungry for change. I'm Christian, the Disruptive Chef Entrepreneur host. I'm out of here, and I'm taking Jason with me. So we are out of here. So with that, I want to say be the change, be the challenge, and be the chef who sets the world on fire. Actually, don't do what he did. Don't set it on fire, but just make it smoke really good. So with that, thanks. Bon appetit, everybody, and stay disruptive, everybody. Thanks until our next episode.